Hi guys, I'm Anurag and I'm back with the latest episode at Simply Sahay. First of all, I'm extremely sorry for being lost the last 3-4 weeks. It's just that I was extremely busy with something super important that was going on in my life. As the video title explains, I was in the process of finalizing and buying my first house here in the US. The closing for the house was August 20th, but even after all the documentation and the paperwork was signed, I was caught up with moving in, unpacking, and then just um, setting stuff around the house and settling into the new city. Uh, I wanted to share this experience with you guys, the thought process that went into buying my house here, and how did I go about in terms of planning to do this. Quick background, I am an F1 student visa. I am on an F1 student visa here in the US. So I thought this might be relevant to especially those who are still on that visa status, or even those who are on visa status like H1B, L1, or just about anybody else. I hope this helps as many people as possible. So there's no real structure that I've planned around this video. Like I said, I wanted to share my experience, the thought process, and the planning that went into buying this house. But the three major areas I would say that I have broken down this video into includes my reason to want to buy a house, the few reasons that went into buying this house. The second was the risk management and planning that I did around certain aspects. And then the third part, well, it's not really like there's a lot of discussion to it, but I would say it was the most important part in my process of buying the house. So quickly diving into the reasons why I went ahead to buy the house. First and foremost was because I wanted to invest. I wanted to put my money into something that was an investment. I'm a big fan of anything investment. And so if I had rented an apartment, the money that would have gone into paying for the rent would have been a cost. Compare that to buying a house, the monthly payment that I'll be making will be going towards building an investment for me. And so that was one of the biggest reasons I had. The second one was extremely painfully high rent here in Chicago. Quick background, in the last job, I was in Cincinnati, Ohio. When I had a job change, I had to move to Chicago here in Illinois. And when I initially started, I started with looking for a rental property. I was like, hey, I want to give it a fair chance to look for a rental property before I moved on to the huge decision of buying my house. It's a bidding war that's going on if you're renting a property, and I believe that's true for the whole of America. So if there's somebody else that's willing to pay a higher rent for me, they will be entertained by the property manager. And then if there's somebody that's willing to pay a higher rent than the second guy, the property management company will sign the documents, the lease documents, with that third guy. And so it's no more first come, first serve basis. It's a bidding war, like I said. And what that did was, initially, if the rental property was, let's say, about worthy of an 1,800 monthly rent, because of the bidding that's going on, the same property might be going out for $2,200 or even $2,500 per month in rent. And I was not willing to pay such a huge amount as rent. And so I decided, hey, I'm not getting lucky looking for an affordable and a decent rental property. Might as well pull the trigger on buying the house. Yes, it wasn't just a month. It took for bad experience looking for a rental apartment that made me decide to buy a house. That would be extremely stupid and foolish. I had already done my planning over the last year and a half in terms of buying a house, saving up for the down payment, etc. I was just looking for the right moment and for me to feel convinced that yes, this is when I should be looking to buy a house instead of paying a rent. So when I compared similar sized properties in terms of the rental that I would have had to pay and the mortgage that I'm looking to pay, the difference was considerable. The average mortgage was anywhere between $200 to $700 less than the rent I would have had to pay for a comparable sized property. And so I thought, hey, let's just pull the trigger. I've done enough planning. I've spent 12 to 18 months doing my planning. It's time to trust that planning that I've already done. Now, next up was low interest rate and my good credit history. America is currently seeing historically low interest rates across the board, including for mortgages. And ever since last year, when COVID happened, the low interest rate environment is prevailing. And ever since last year, I was looking to make the most of it. And to be able to make the most of these historically low interest rates, I was looking for the right fit in terms of the house that I would love to buy. In conjunction with that, my good credit history was another big reason why I went ahead and bought my house. So your good credit history helps as a bargain chip when you go out and talk to banks and say that, hey, I want to buy a house and I want you to lend me the money. So when they see that you have a great credit history, you can always get an even lower interest rate on your mortgage. And so I wanted to make the most of that. Other than that, the last and probably the most critical reason was affordability. I did not want to buy the house for the sake of saving on the rent cost. I wanted to buy the house to enjoy the experience of being a homeowner. And so I had to be extremely realistic with myself. Can I really afford my house? And affordability has two parts. First is the down payment. Can I really afford to make that down payment, save up and make that down payment? If the answer is yes, the second question would be, will I be able to manage the monthly installment that I have to pay? Do I have the confidence in my financial planning, in myself, in my job security? Do I have that confidence? If the answer to both the questions is a yes, then you should be seeing at yourself as a potential home owner. In my case, when I found the answers to both the question to be yes, I was ready, again, like I said, to pull the trigger. Now, apart from the reasons, the second part of my buying process was the risk management and planning aspect. There are three parts to my risk management and planning. First and foremost, the visa/immigration status. I'm currently on my F1 student visa, like I said, and for a lot of people, it's stupid, it's foolish, it's crazy to even think about buying a house when you're still on your student visa and you do not have a long-term plan of staying here in the US just because the visa status won't allow you to do that. Yes, there is a school of thought that thinks buying a house on a student visa is stupid, but I do not subscribe to that thought process. I respect it, but I do not subscribe to it. Instead, I thought I have a decent amount of time on my current visa. I can save up even in case I have to relocate to another country. And let's say I'm not able to find a tenant to rent this apartment out to. I will have 6 to 12 months of installment money saved up to help me through a rainy day when there's nobody that I can rent out the property to. Now, once I had the confidence that yes, I can spend the next few months, years saving up for that rainy day just in case if I don't get a visa extension, I moved on to the next big risk, which was having a watertight research and planning. In terms of research and planning, some of the areas that I touched upon was what kind of a house am I looking to buy? Am I looking to buy a condo/apartment? Am I looking to buy a townhome? Am I looking to buy a single family home? I had to make a decision on that. And related to that, the next question was, how much am I willing to pay? What's my ceiling in terms of the maximum price I'm willing to pay for a house? I had a number and I had put a hard stop on that number. Not even $2 above that number I was willing to go, and that helped me a lot. I had earlier talked about wanting to enjoy the experience of being a homeowner, and when I was strict in terms of my budget of how much am I willing to pay for the house, that ensured, being strict with that number ensured that I'm still able to enjoy being a homeowner. Now, next up was understanding the entire process of buying a house, which includes talking to a bank, getting a pre-approval letter, going out to see properties, finalizing a property that you're interested in, making a price offer to the seller, and having the seller accept your price that you're willing to pay. So once the seller has accepted your price, then you go ahead and talk to the lender that gave you the pre-approval letter to formally start your application for the mortgage. And the whole process in my case, right from getting the pre-approval letter to signing on the dotted line and getting the keys to the house, took about 6 months. It's definitely painful, it's definitely intensive, it's exhaustive in terms of the documentation that's involved. So I made myself familiar with the whole process and the related paperwork as well. The third part of my risk management and planning was, we've already talked about this, my budget and my down payment planning and saving. So like I said, last year I started and planned to buy the house. I had cold feet right towards the end, and that's why I did not buy the house back in Cincinnati, Ohio. But ever since then, I had been rigorously saving to pay towards the 20% down payment to buy a house. When you're able to make a 20% down payment on buying a house, the federal government insures the rest of the 80% that you're borrowing from the bank. When somebody is not able to make a 20% down payment, they have to, on a month-to-month basis, pay a premium on an insurance that the bank has in case you're unable to make payment on your mortgages. If you fail to make your payments, the insurance company will be compensating for that failure. And so to avoid this monthly expense, I decided to spend the last 12 to 18 months saving up for the down payment, which helped me a lot, like I said, in saving certain cost. The last part, like I said, was probably the most important part. I was ready with my planning and a bit of money as well to buy a house last year as well. The interest rates were low, my credit history was still really good, but I had cold feet towards the end. I got scared about the commitment of being a homeowner and having to make those monthly payment potentially for 30 years of my life into the future. So last year I did not pull the trigger because of getting cold feet. This year I was able to take the leap of faith. Yes, there was encouragement from my family, from my wife. I thought I'm young enough to take this risk, to service this loan with great responsibility. I have the highest earning years of my career ahead of me, and so I was well placed to take this risk. And yes, that's when I decided to take this leap of faith and have the confidence not just in me and my abilities, but the confidence in my planning and the confidence in being a responsible borrower. All of that put together gave me the confidence that yes, I'll be able to enjoy being a homeowner. I know I've repeated that n number of times, but whenever you make a purchase, the paramount importance is given to your ability to enjoy that purchase, whether it's a car, whether it's a mobile or a house, or even a vacation. The biggest reason is you want to enjoy it, right? Whether it's a phone or a car, vacation, house, whatever. And so all of this put together helped me feel like, yes, I'm well placed to enjoy the experience of being a homeowner, and hence that leap of faith happened. I was able to pull the trigger and sign on the dotted lines. I hope this video was helpful, maybe even motivating in helping you pull the trigger and sign on the dotted line and buy a house of your own. It's definitely a very special moment. I can speak from experience. It's definitely an extremely emotional moment when the keys are given to you, and it's something that I can only speak about, but you will know how it feels when you have the keys to your own house. If you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the comment section. I'd love to answer specific questions from your side, share more tips and bits in terms of the planning that went into me buying the house. Before I sign off, I request you to please like, share, subscribe and press the bell icon for my channel. It's really new, and I'd love to get more and more support from you guys just so that I can continue sharing more important videos with you guys. Until the next video that I'm back with, please take care. Do not forget to subscribe and press the bell icon, and I'm going to see you with the next one. Bye-bye.